success story is probably is a big statement, but yeah, I've got 3 businesses now which I really enjoy running. That gives me a lot of happiness and fulfillment. So from a success sort of internal perspective, I'm pretty happy with sort of the journey I've been on.
So I loved writing when I was at school, and my English teacher told me that I wasn't even university material and that I should think about going a different route. So I'm really proud of my academic achievements, for sure, because I did it not knowing I was dyslexic. I've self-published a couple of books, and I'm really proud that I get to empower other people so that they don't go through the same thing that I went through.
When I was younger, I was bottom sets for everything. But after that, after I did my A-levels, I managed to get into a couple of good universities. I got a master's degree. I then moved to China for a couple of years. I learned Mandarin, which I thought would have been an impossibility if you sort of told that to the 8-year-old version of me.
I'd say Stanley for me is a success story. He's a happy, motivated child that wants to learn, loves school, misses school when he's not there. He has amazing school reports. He's really motivated. So for me, that is a success story. Yeah, he's got dyslexia, but I think that's given him an advantage to succeed. He's so motivated. He works so hard, and that could have gone the other way. So for me, he's a success.
So we have so many success stories. How long have we got to talk about this at Moon Hall? We have an abundance of success stories, but I think what's really key, what's really important is to look at the individual. What has been their journey? What was their starting point? Where are they now? And where are they going next? So yes, it's wonderful, and I absolutely love hearing about our ex-pupils that have went on to university. I've got a pupil that was our head boy a couple of years ago, and he wants to be a teacher. He wants to work at Moon Hall. So he's doing everything that he possibly can to try and make that his goal. He's come back to the school and visited. He's volunteered. I would love nothing more to employ him as a teacher when he's qualified. I can't think of a more successful story than that.
I think it's been so, ever since I got the diagnosis, I feel like my confidence has helped me grow, and I'm in such a good place now, friendship-wise. I like to talk, and I think because that is my, I like to talk, and I think because that's my strength, friendships, talking to family has been my biggest, importance to me. And I think now it's come across like that. I feel like I've become more successful as myself, and I feel like I've found out who I am as a person. That's been my success, and that's all I care about.
I think dyslexia has helped a lot with who I became today.
What am I most proud of in terms of that dyslexia has done to drive my success? I think number one is a resilience. As I say, I think failing a lot at an early age. I don't think I've ever been afraid of failure. I think if you fail early and then you just kind of get back up and fail again and get back up and it doesn't work, I've just always been we'll see. And that's made me take chances that maybe other people wouldn't take, come up with ideas and actually tried to make people run with them and get others to run with them that maybe others wouldn't have done. And I put a lot of that down to dyslexia. I'm not sure if that's dyslexia is a good or a bad motivator, but it's ended up working for me.
And so I think that for me, I feel like the way that my dyslexia is I think the way that my dyslexia has helped me with my success is that I have probably negatively got a bit of a chip in my shoulder. I feel like I have something to prove. I feel like I potentially was written off a little bit when I was a child. And so now I've got something to prove to the world or to myself. And that maybe makes me work a little bit harder. That maybe makes me a little bit more motivated. But then I also do think there's something fundamental to dyslexia itself. I don't think that the number of dyslexic entrepreneurs is purely because people are more resilient because they didn't have a good time at school. You're 4 times more likely to be a self-made millionaire if you're dyslexic. You're 3 times more likely to be an entrepreneur. And I don't think that, and you look at the kind of the list of people who are dyslexic entrepreneurs. You've got Richard Branson, Nick Jones. People say Steve Jobs was dyslexic. And so I think that there is something fundamental with dyslexia and innovation. I think there's something fundamental around, I think that pattern recognition and that lateral thinking is so important for creating ideas, because I think that there's no such thing as a new idea. It's basically just innovation is retrofitting things that work in other areas and placing them in a new use case. And I think that's why dyslexic people can oftentimes think of new things, because they're constantly looking at things and seeing how they can then be used in other areas. And so I would say that has been a part of my success, that I've been able to do that one thing quite well. And so I would say that whilst it's kind of the resilience and the chip in my shoulder, I would also say that it's something fundamental to dyslexia as well.
I think the reason I started the whole businesses was because I was feeling so frustrated in the corporate world. I've always been entrepreneurial. Started my first business when I was 13 in Cornwall, washing cars for a fixed fee, which I remember very vividly. I went to this big caravan estate, and I said I'd wash any car for, I think it was £5 or £10. And this guy brought this car out, and it was like mouldy on the outside, mouldy on the inside, like green. He was like, "You said a £5, mate," and I was like, "Yeah, but it's going to take me about 6 hours to do." So entrepreneur, yeah, I've always sort of hustled, for want of a better word, and I think, yeah, the other thing I've been entrepreneurial since the age of 13. I'm now 31, so I don't know if the success of the businesses can necessarily be linked to dyslexia, but it certainly helped me on my journey to be creative, look at things differently, and create new products effectively.
She's been down there as a young person. No child should have to feel like she felt, but she's been down there and she's managed, with help, but for herself, she's managed to find herself along this journey, to be able to go, I'm okay, and I can do anything that I want to do. At school, she is putting her hand up for things that she never put her hand up before. She's getting involved in things that she's never been involved in at school before. She's applied to be head girl. She's, getting involved in drama clubs and stuff like that, stuff that she was always too scared to do before. And so in a not long amount of time, she's managed to kind of stand up and go, here I am, here I am. I'm Ruby, and I'm capable of so many things, Yeah.
I taught in a previous prep school, and they went to another senior school, and it wasn't working out for them. They were really struggling with their anxiety. They were a school refuser. They couldn't even get out of bed in the morning because their anxiety was so crippling for them. And we worked with them over a year just to try and get them into Moon Hall. And the first sort of steps were driving around the school, maybe getting out of the car, coming and having a chat with me. There were points that this pupil could not even get out of the car. The anxiety was just too much for them. They came to Moon Hall, they got the most amazing GCSE results. They went on to sixth form. They're now at university studying physiotherapy. They want to set up their own practice. They came back to the school and spoke to my pupils about their journey. For me, and I've got a little bit of goosebumps actually, sort of just recalling that situation. And I met his mum even at the weekend, and she was telling me how wonderful he's doing, how transformational it was for them as a family, for him to be finally understood at Moon Hall and to get his life back on track again.
There was a photograph of me as a 3-year-old, and I know I was 3 because my younger brother was a baby, and he's pretty much exactly, give or take a day, he's exactly 3 years younger than me. So he was a young baby, so I was 3. There's a photograph of my younger brother, me, and my older brother having like a family photo taken or something in the 70s with our paisley shirts and my curly blonde locks. And I was smiling so much, and I was a happy boy. And something happened between then and sort of adulthood which stopped that smile. That boy stopped being happy. That boy became miserable and depressed and frightened and scared and all that stuff that I mentioned at school. And that boy thought of himself as a failure. And I know it sounds weird, but I remember looking at that picture in my mind's eye and then finding it and saying, it's going to be all right. You know, there's this drive, almost on the one hand, to give my young self validation. But there's also a drive to prove others wrong.